Welcome to WP Constellations, a podcast exploration of the WordPress universe, brought to you by Stellar WP. Welcome to the next episode of WP Constellations. I'm here today with my co-host, Jeff Chandler. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. It's a bit smoky outside, but it's fine. I'm staying inside.
It is.
Made dinner yesterday, so I don't have to worry about grilling or going outside. However, my bird feeder's empty, so I'm going to have to brave the elements just a little bit to feed the birds.
Or they
that's
can
just what
forage
I
for
do.
them. They can forage for themselves for one night.
I suppose.
As we're recording this, you may be listening to this years in the future. We are experiencing in the northeast part of the United States, we are experiencing a smoke from the Canadian wildfires. So that's what Jeff is referring to. Kathy has her own set of issues. Right now, she is experiencing a major heat wave because she is in Texas. Kathy Zant is with us today.
Oh, dear.
Kathy, welcome. Are you managing to stay cool?
I am. It's more humid than I got in Arizona, but it's not as hot as Arizona. So I'm just happy to be here and not breathing smoke. I'm so sorry, you guys. I lived through that in California, and it is tough. I know.
It is rough, right?
I would rather breathe through this smoke than 105-degree heat with 80-degree humidity. So it's a choice. You want to breathe water? Do you want to breathe dirt? I don't want to breathe either.
But speaking of pretty cool and keeping cool, we're here today to talk about the product that you work on most, Kathy, which is Kadence WP. So thanks for joining us, and let's dig right in. I know Jeff's going to start us off with our first question for you. Not that you're on the hot seat, but we do have some questions so that we can understand Kadence a little bit better.
Awesome.
Yes, Kadence. So we see it's a theme, it's blocks, it's templates. But how would you describe what Kadence is to our audience?
Kadence is, I'm going to steal this actually from one of Kadence's users, one of our power users, Jake Full. He calls Kadence an ecosystem. It is an entire ecosystem of, in a way, a whole collection of methods that allow you to bring what you do online, and to do so in WordPress, and do so extremely easy, in an easy way. Extremely easy. That's probably not good English, but Ben Rittner, the founder of Kadence, he actually developed a new way of working with blocks before Gutenberg was ever a part of core. He saw where WordPress was going, and he's like, I can work with this, but I think I can make this a little easier and a little better, and give people more control and more capabilities so that they can do more with Gutenberg without having to learn how to code. And it has grown, and the community behind Kadence that are using Kadence to build awesome things has grown as well. It's a super fun project to work on because it's way more than a theme. It's more than just blocks. They've got Kadence Shop Kit. You've got Kadence Elements, which allows you to do custom post types and conditional display. So anything you can do with code, you can pretty much do with Kadence without any code. And I think it's amazing. I'm here for Kadence.
I didn't know what Kadence Elements were until I built WPSpeakers.com. And somebody said, why aren't you using Kadence Elements to display them? And I was like, ooh, what are those? Now, it wasn't even anybody at Kadence that taught me this. It was one of our users that is a friend of mine, that she's like, you have to use Kadence Elements. I'm like, ooh, show me more. So we got on a Zoom together, and she taught me a part of one of our products, when I was just like, how cool is it that our users are so into it that they can teach some of us. No, granted, I'm not a coder. I've used Kadence on a bunch of websites, but I never got that far into it because I never needed custom post types. So really inspired. And it works really well with third parties like Advanced Custom Fields.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about Kadence is there's so many people who it has empowered, right? So like Jake, for example, Jake has built an entire business, and he has his own block library, his own design library that is built upon Kadence. And so it's in his interest to teach people about it. But I think even if he didn't have that business, he would probably still be in that Facebook group helping people answer questions, because he's so empowered. And so so invested in the success of what Kadence can do because it's helped him build a business. So there's so many people that have been empowered by this. That Facebook group is jumping. People come in trying to do this thing with my footer and it's not working the way I want. What do I need to do? And there's people who are part of this community who jump right in and say, oh, have you thought about trying it this way? Much like what happened with you and WP Speakers.
Yeah, I totally love it.
We briefly heard the mention of Kadence blocks, but what is Kadence blocks and what makes Kadence blocks and Kadence themes such a powerful combination? I see these two recommended a lot on Twitter from various people who just simply love this combination. They build a lot of things with it.
Yeah. So Kadence Blocks is a plugin freely available on the repo. It does have a pro plugin as well, but you can get Kadence Blocks on the repo and you can plug it into anything. And there's plenty of people who are using Elementor on some pages, but then other pages, they're like, I want to do this in Gutenberg, and you can plug in Kadence blocks and it'll extend out some of the things you can do with blocks. There are people who are using, say, Generate Press or Astra theme, but they want something that only Kadence blocks has, like maybe the Kadence Google map block, and they want to use that. So they can install Kadence blocks. And so Kadence blocks is a standalone plugin that you can use on any WordPress site, as long as you're not like in the classic editor and you're using blocks, you're using Gutenberg, the new WordPress editor, you can use Kadence blocks and it works. You can use Generate blocks. Generate Press has their own block plugin as well. And you can use these interchangeably. And the great thing about Kadence blocks is, let's say you have Astra theme, but you're using Kadence blocks in that Google map block. Kadence blocks isn't going to load all of Kadence blocks on the front end. It's just going to load the code that's associated with that block that you're using. So like the maps block on the front end. So it's super lightweight and flexible, and you can use it with anything. But when you bring the theme in, Kadence theme, it has so many other capabilities that really supercharge what you can do with blocks. So the coolest thing that I think about with Kadence theme is the color palette. So when you're developing a site, and you and I, we've all grown up on WordPress, right? We know content is over here and our posts and our pages is over here. And we've got our theme that stores our design and basically tells our site what the site's going to look like and wraps it around all of the content. So if you want to change the way your look and feel is every other day, you can do that super easily, and it just inherits through your site, right? That's why I got into WordPress, is because I was blogging and it's like, okay, time for a new blog theme, and I was changing things all the time. Well, the Kadence theme is really cool because you can set up your colors. So let's say, you have your posts and you have some blocks and things in your posts, and you're going to retheme it or rebrand something, and you change those colors in the color palette, it inherits into all of the blocks, which makes things like our design library super powerful. So if you load up the Kadence design library and you have your colors set in the Kadence color picker in the color palette, you have all your brand colors there. That design library then inherits from your brand colors. And so you basically have all of your brand colors basically set up and ready to go. It's super powerful. And then when you combine Kadence blocks with the Kadence theme, that's when you get things like elements and being able to do custom post types. So you just create one page that lays out 500 different entries in your custom post types. You can do conditional content like replacing headers and things like that. It makes it super easy. So together they're really a powerhouse.
And when we were
we've gone from the days of, go ahead.
When we were in grade school, the teacher would write on the bottom of our report cards, works well with others. And I think that Kadence is like that as well, right? So if you look at some of our other plugins that we have at Stellar WP, you can use Kadence with Give. You can use Kadence with the events calendar. You can use Kadence with Restrict Content Pro. Like all of the other plugins that you have that have their own blocks also fit in well with the Kadence theme. So definitely works well with others.
Definitely. And the starter templates, we have a ton. I think there's like 80 starter templates, and you can go on the starter templates on the Kadence WP site and take a look at like the learning genre of starter templates, and all of those work with LearnDash. It'll even like pull in some courses and things like that, so that you can just get started with your course online with a professionally designed site. Boom, you're there.
I recently built a site using Kadence for an arborist and forgot to replace one of the links on the homepage that we had originally started to build. And the person's husband said, "Why are there pumpkins suddenly when I click this link?" Because I had used the pumpkin patch theme or template and replaced it, but I forgot that page. And so I was like, hold on, give me 5 minutes. I can fix that.
So funny.
You could use the themes interchange. Like you can use a template that looks really great, and it doesn't have to be for the same thing. So I used the skincare one for a massage therapist, for example. So it's just what visually works for you and what elements are you looking for your customer or for your own website. Definitely works well. Jeff, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, she was describing how easy it is to change the look and feel of your website. And it's like in the early days of WordPress, you used to have to do that by means of like creating or using a child theme, or somebody having to go through and make all those CSS changes. And now at this point, we finally reached the point where, you just click a few buttons and boom, you have a new look and feel for your website.
Absolutely.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right. Yeah. And this Kadence is the first theme that I've worked with where, like, Ben, the founder, he actually says, well, you don't really need a child theme. And I'm like, but I've been child theming for a decade. Like, how do I get out of this? But you really don't need a child theme, even if you're going to be adding in like Google tags, like for analytics or Google Tag Manager and things like that, and you want to add those in the right places. The pro version of Kadence theme actually has places where you can put that in, so it will actually populate that for you. It's the first theme I've worked with where I haven't needed to child theme, and I'm cool with it. I'm here for that. I didn't realize what a pain in the rear that was.
But it's when it's the only tool you have. What do they say? When the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem is a nail. So it's like just applying child themes everywhere.
So the Kadence theme actually comes with a forms block, and this was news to me. I had no idea that blocks could perform all of the same functions or more as a dedicated forms plugin or a dedicated whatever plugin. So maybe kind of briefly explain how that forms block works and what other blocks does Kadence have that can serve as plugin replacements?
Yeah, there's a lot. Okay, so the current, we're recording this end of June 2023. I almost said 13. And so now we have a really kind of simple form block at this time in Kadence blocks. So you can do a contact form, or you can do a subscription, like sign up for a newsletter type of form. Those types of things that you typically need. We're in the process of rolling out Kadence blocks 3.1. It's going to be in beta very, very soon. And that has the advanced form block, which is going to have radio buttons and checkboxes and upload capability, which of course my security mind is like, oh, let's test this. Let's make sure this is okay. But like, you think about a job application, like to be able to upload a resume, a PDF resume, and be done with that, and not having to having that just on your site with a free plugin. You don't have to use JobVite or any of these other places to be able to have that capability in a free form builder that's already a part of Kadence blocks. That is coming. I've gotten to play with it, and it's coming really soon. So yeah, it just, like any block, it's basically, it's just HTML with settings.
Yeah.
So, on the right side of your screen, there's a bunch of settings, and you set those settings, and those get intermingled with the CSS and the HTML. And that's basically how any of these blocks work. And so all of those form elements are now going to be a part of Kadence blocks 3.1. And it is going to be a no-code way, a pretty easy no-code way to build forms. And those forms can, if you have the pro version of Kadence, you can store that information in a custom post type in that you can download as a CSV if you have like lots of data that you want to just like get into Excel or Sheets or whatever and play with that data. You can store it in the database. You can have it emailed. You can have it via webhooks sent wherever you need it to go. There are going to be tons of powerful things you can do with that. So it really is becoming, I mean, this is data-driven stuff, right? We're giving people the capabilities to take user input, do things with the user input, and even populate things on their site from that user input, conceivably with a few tweaks here and there. There's a lot of fun things coming with Kadence.
This is where we have Johnny Five say input.
One of the things that I've noticed, this wasn't on our list of questions, but I know you know the answer. So one of the things that I've noticed and I love so much about Kadence, you mentioned a little bit earlier, like the Facebook group is this incredible group of really positive people. Everything, anytime somebody mentions Kadence anywhere, it's all this amazing positivity. And you've done so much to foster that, right? So Kadence has its own podcast, by the way. So if you're listening to this podcast, pop over to Kadence WP, listen to their podcast too. And then this year, you also, like almost with no time at all, pulled together an amazing full day event called Amplify. So what are, like, talk a little bit about the importance of building that community around Kadence and how that has really fed into the popularity of the product. Obviously, the product is good, but good products don't always get known about, and good products aren't always used and picked up. It's when you can get the word out. So how have you fostered that whole environment?
Yeah, I really have to give all of the credit to Ben and to his sister Hannah, who has been the two of them for the past like decade have been managing all of this. I only came along like a year and a half ago and kind of, I'm an honorary Rittner. I call myself. I'm just you know, at least on our podcast recording days, I consider myself a little bit of a Rittner. You two are so brilliant. First of all, Ben creates products that help people build businesses, right? Ben created an amazing suite of products that allow people to build out design libraries, that allow people to build their own child themes. So people are doing like amazing designs, kind of like starter templates. It's like a whole site that people are putting their own creativity and building their own businesses on this. So that gets people really invested in the success of the product. And then you've got Hannah in the Facebook group who is making sure everybody's getting along because community is hard. Yes, and also making sure people get answers to those questions. And, you know, I participate in there as well, but we've got all of these Kadence community members who are invested in new people coming along and be finding success. There's another person who does travel blogging and she teaches people how to do travel blogs, and she's got her own community, and she actually switched her site. She was on another page builder and she switched it over to Kadence and found success. And because of that, she shows the way that worked for her and shows people how to get started using Kadence and doing travel blogging. So it's kind of created its own little ecosystem of people who are finding success and, you know, in the spirit of WordPress, helping everybody else get a leg up so that they can find success as well. And it is, it's just, I mean, I'm here for WordPress to empower people. That's like kind of my mission right now, is for people to find freedom through WordPress. And Kadence does that. And everybody who's doing that with Kadence as well and helping other people find freedom through WordPress, it's just really exciting to see.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
We're the Amplify event was awesome, and I think
yes,
Kadence has its own YouTube channel where everybody could find those sessions from that event. But a little birdie told me that there is a second Amplify event coming up.
We couldn't do it just once.
Of course not.
It was too much fun. It was hard, like sitting there all day long, because Hannah did one, because all these speaker talks came in and I'm just looking at them and I'm like, I can't say no. There was one person I said no to because I was just like a little worried with like the topic, and it was like a little, I'm sorry. But everybody else, I was just like, nope, that's great. That's great too. That's great also. And everybody Michelle was a speaker and brought an amazing talk about starting podcast, which you guys are showing the way. And it was a great event. So how do I not do another one? So we're going to have another one in September. And we're looking this time, well, we're going to highlight some people in the Kadence space and the WordPress space and topics help people be successful with WordPress. But we're also looking for speakers beyond WordPress, people who, we did one event last November with John McDonald from a company called The Good. He does conversion rate optimization. It was just like perfect timing as people are getting Black Friday up to talk about how do you get people to convert. And so we went over a bunch of Kadence sites and helped people kind of like tweak things a little bit so that it was more in tune with where their customers were in that buyer's journey. Really powerful stuff. And so we're looking to do a lot more of that as well to uplift everybody who's trying to do something with WordPress. And there's knowledge beyond our community, and we want to bring that in. We also want to bring that knowledge of what Kadence can do and what WordPress can do to people who like defaulted into Wix or Squarespace and they just didn't know any better, right? So,
right, absolutely.
So we're looking to really kind of like blur those lines and uplift anybody who's trying to do something online.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think as we're sort of now in this transitional phase with AI, and we're starting to see AI implemented in a variety of products. We're doing it in LearnDash. I believe GiveWP is experimenting there. I think Iconic is experimenting there, and Kadence is no different. And one of the things I find awesome about Kadence behind the scenes is rallying around this message of, WordPress for the longest time has the famous 5-minute install, but with Kadence in the future, it's the 5-minute website, which I think is cool. So can you kind of give us some insight into how Kadence is experimenting and maybe implementing AI for the Kadence theme?
Sure. Yeah. Well, by now everybody's played with ChatGPT and at least asked it some kind of question or had it write some kind of content for them. And if you haven't yet, that's something you should do because these are tools that aren't going to replace you and aren't going to do your job for you, but they're going to make your job a lot easier. But bring yourself. Everybody's voice still needs to be there. But we're taking it a step further. So Kadence AI is being built upon the same technology as ChatGPT. OpenAI is the platform. So we got API hooks into that. So basically Kadence AI is just asking you about your business and your brand personality and even do you have some photos that you'd like to be shown on your site and things like that, or would you like to go out and find some stock photography? So it's basically asking you a bunch of questions about your site, and the real power comes with Kadence's curated prompting that takes users input, massages it enough so that it makes sense for AI to be able to give back something that makes sense for the end user. And of course, we are in the initial stages of generative AI being able to do these types of things. So is it perfect? I don't think AI is ever going to be perfect, but it's going to get you so far along. The 5-minute blog install didn't write your blog content. It didn't find your pictures. It didn't tell you how to connect with an audience, but it at least gave you a platform where you could get started. This is going to give you a site and a framework of layouts that and photos and some copy that at least spark some of your creativity. So I am looking forward to seeing not what AI is going to do, but what people are going to do with AI. And that's where I think there's your soundbite right there. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I love it. I love it. When you look at all the different people and all the different sites that have been built with Kadence WP, is there a site or two that like just pop to the top of your mind as like, wow, what a great site built with Kadence. So proud that Kadence is at the bottom of that, cited at the bottom of that site.
Yeah. Okay. So like Funny or Die is the Kadence site. And then the one that so that's fun. I was doing a video at once and I was recording and some of the Funny or Die videos, there's like a little risque stuff. And I was trying to show it off in the video and I had to edit out like all the stuff. And it got me so flustered. I'm like, I wasn't expecting to see that. It was pretty funny. Now everybody's going to go look up Funny or Die.
I am.
The other one that, and I don't know if it's using the Kadence theme, but it was using Kadence blocks. I'm going to have to load it up just to double check again. But my new favorite, thanks to my daughter, she's got me hooked on Taylor Swift. I have become a Swiftie, and somebody's like, "Oh, did you see Taylor Swift is using Kadence?" And I was like, "Oh, really?" And now I have to
I have to double check that.
resource. Yeah, I have to double check. But I did look at it, and then I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think it's either Cadence Blocks is on there.
Mhm.
Yeah, Cadence Blocks. It's definitely using Cadence Blocks. So
Love it.
taylorswift.com, if you head there and do just like a view source on it, you'll see that they're using Cadence row layouts. So that's my big excitement. And I was just hoping that maybe Tay could throw me a ticket or two. Daughter's birthday's coming up.
She's definitely getting
We
more
could fly.
traffic than Meet Michelle online, which also uses Cadence, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. But I will say, I love Cadence because I was able to make my own link tree with it. And
Yeah.
so instead of using a
And
third
you
party
started a
source,
movement.
I started a movement. Who knew? Right. But you can have your own link tree. And then because it's your own, you can do whatever you want with it, make it look however you want it to look. It's your own URL. And you can have additional pages if that's what you want to do as well. So pretty cool stuff.
Loads of fun.
I
Yeah.
think it's we should remind our listeners that when we're talking about Kadence, the Kadence theme is free. Cadence
Mhm.
Blocks is free. There are pro versions, but with just those two free products, amongst the other ones, those are already can get you most of the way there. You can create some pretty powerful solutions with just those two products.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kathy, is there anything else that us or the audience should know about Kadence WordPress or
Any
where people can
secrets?
find more information? Yeah, secrets.
Any secrets? Anything
Okay.
coming down the line?
Stuff coming. I don't think I have any secrets, but I will say that I've been there. So Cadence has, if you get the full bundle, it's got a product called Cadence Conversions, which does pop-ups, slide-ins, and banners. And so now I don't like pop-ups, slide-ins, and banners. Banners, no problem. Slide-ins, just make them so that they are not intrusive, and pop-ups, I just don't like them at all.
Yeah.
But I have been playing with slide-ins at the end of the page to see on a couple of sites to see how they convert for like newsletter signups. And I can tell you this, when people slide down, if they go down to the end of the page and they're done consuming a page of content, that is the place to do a little slide in and to do a Cadence conversion at the end of the page where you have a newsletter sign up. I did this on a couple of sites and my conversions went through the roof. I'm just like,
Wow.
I didn't change anything else. I took the inline form sign up off, and then I put the slide in at the end of the page, not in the middle, not at the beginning, but at the end of the page. Boom shakalaka.
I
We're
love
cooking
it.
with Cadence conversions. So
Okay,
try
I know
that
what I'm
one out.
doing next. Absolutely.
Well, there's a lot to be said when you're not being presented with a prompt when you just first get to an article or the page for the 1st time, and it says, "Oh, welcome. I don't know how you found me, but give me your email address. Give it to me. Give it to me."
Yeah,
It's like, hold on, let me read this content, and maybe I'll give you my email address.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And it just goes to show you that any tool is powerful, but you have to know how to use the tool. And that's one of the things that the Cadence marketing team really tries to focus on is, yes, we're giving you these tools that are amazing, that anybody can build a really powerful and fast loading website. But we really try to put some effort and attention into helping you understand what you're doing with the tools and how to use them more effectively so that, when it comes time for a Cadence renewal, you're like, sign me up.
Absolutely. So all these wonderful people listening this far in, how do they find out more? Where do they find Cadence? Where could they find the free version? How do they upgrade? Like all of the things.
Yeah, head to Cadence WP. That'll get you started. Definitely join the Cadence Facebook group because you're going to find inspiration. You're going to find answers to questions. You can find all of that information on Cadence WP. If you're looking for us on social, it's Cadence WP. On all of the different socials, cadencewp.com. And Taylor, if you're listening, I'm serious. I need tickets, dude.
Tickets. Come on, Taylor. Do your friend a solid here. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us today all about the amazing things that are happening with Cadence WP. Really appreciate the time. I know that you're a busy person, and so we really appreciate that you took the time to explain and to talk through a bunch of it with us. And hopefully, if people have more questions, they will seek you out. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. So much fun, you guys.
Thanks again, Jeff, for being the co-host with the mostest, or I don't know, something like that. And we'll see everybody on the next episode of WP Constellations.
Bye.
WP Constellations is a production of Stellar WP, home of the events calendar, LearnDash, Give WP, Kadence, Iconic, Solid WP, Orderable, and Restrict Content Pro. Learn more about the Stellarverse at stellarwp.com.